It's a small Hakea, quite needle-like foliage. Comes from the Grampians National Park here in Victoria. It also, like epiglottis, has ethmoidal shaped fruit, and it's a plant that grows in the forest areas, in sandy type soils, very adaptable to gardens in Victoria and elsewhere. The flowers are a bit of a creamy colour and quite attractive when they're out, and the new growth's quite attractive too by sort of bronzy colour. New South Wales, up in the high Blue Mountains, in one small location, this Hakea doherti is found. It's classed as endangered in as far as New South Wales flora is concerned, and I can't quite understand why, because everywhere that I've grown this, up at Strathmerton near the Murray and down here, the plants have grown very rapidly, and the ones at Strathmerton and in other gardens that I've established it in have all set copious amounts of seed. And it's been flowering for over a month already, and its lovely pinky flowers make it quite an attractive plant to have in the garden. This one's only about just over 2 years old. It's a plant from the sand heaths of Western Australia, but again will grow on heavier soils. It has interesting leaves that are long and with a little monk row, but if you put these under a microscope, you'll find that there's 5 wide deep grooves in these leaves. Neurophylla comes from the Mount Lesaur National Park, which is a fabulous area of flora in Western Australia. This plant has lovely pinky flowers, which these are just coming out. Again, it's an endangered plant, Hakea Victoria, and it's one of these lovely Hakeas, has very sculptured leaves, and the flower is not anything spectacular, but what most people hope is that these texture leaves will gradually turn from this yellowy colour to a nice bright red, and then that's when they look really spectacular. And quite often in books and that you'll see photos of these in Western Australia which are coloured beautifully, and everyone goes wow. But it's a lovely Hakea. Again, growing more for its leaf shape and texture than the flower. This is Hakea cristata. Again, comes from a small area just outside Perth in the John Forest National Park. Grows as an understory plant in the forest. Has these beautiful elliptical leaves with these dentations which are quite prickly. Again, I have seen them with masses of white flowers, and I had some lovely specimens up at Strathmerton, but it's more a Hakea that's grown for its foliage, and again all the new growth tends to be a nice sort of what do we call it, brownish purplish texture, so it's quite ornamental for that reason. Here, petiolaris subspecies tricophylla. This is the common one found in gardens all over Australia, and unfortunately it tends to be a very tall Hakea, up to 8 metres high. This one has flowered quite profusely earlier, but the cold weather has stopped any seed formation. Earlier on I put a lot of seed down in vermiculite Hakea seed. Around Christmas time I had, out of about 52 or 53 species, about 48, 49 of them actually germinated because the nighttime temperature was more than 15 degrees, and that seems to be one of the triggering points about germinating seed. You've got to have that nighttime temperature up enough to sort of induce the germination. Otherwise you've got to have bottom heat or something like that. Otherwise, some of these, a few Hakeas that just didn't germinate in the summer, and I just left the seed in the punnets here, and as the cold nights came on in the winter, you will see now that some of that seed has started to germinate. So this is Hakea milligani from Tasmania, and when you see where it grows, it doesn't surprise me that it needs cold, frosty conditions before it triggers the germination. These I've germinated in the autumn, when the nights were still quite warm. There's a mixture here of quite some rare ones like Hakea megalosperma, Hakea tricophylla from Tennant Creek, Hakea cuneata from again from north of Perth, and over here is a mixture of few eucalypts, and there's Hakea minima from the arid areas of Western Australia and Northern Territory, and they're all, and this is Hakea rigida, which is another one that grows in a very low rainfall area out near Kalgoorlie, so hopefully they will be big enough to go in the ground.